Alrighty, we continue. It is the Zach Gelb Show, number 6 versus number 3, coming your way Saturday night in Happy Valley. That, of course, is the Oregon Ducks taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions. And now joining us is the head coach at Oregon, and that, of course, is Dan Lanning. Coach, always great to have you on. How you been?
Doing great. Thanks for having me, Zach.
Well, let me start you off with your quarterback. He's been unbelievable this year, Dante Moore. I know it's been a 2-year process. When he transferred over from UCLA and all the learning that he had, how have you kind of seen him change the last 2 years under your watch?
Yeah, just grow. I mean, he's continued to grow. He's always been a mature guy. The way he connects with teammates, the relationships he creates, but he's gotten better. He's gotten better every single day that he's been here. And we've always felt like he's had a lot of arm talent and ability. I think that's showing up for everybody else in the nation to see this year.
It's never easy when you're playing and you're getting the reps and then you got to sit down for a bit. Like if I was hosting a show and then they told me for a year, hey, we want you to go produce or we want you to go sit in the newsroom and cut tape. I don't know if I would be able to handle that. Why was he the right kid where he could learn behind Dylan and be able to take it when kind of the toothpaste was already out of the tube and he had some experience playing?
Yeah, I think that's one of the levels of maturity that Dante really showed. Coming out that year, I think he recognized, you look around college football, it's the same year. Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, like all those guys were playing in their 5th and 6th years in football and having opportunities to go play at the next level. And I think you look around college football, it wasn't about how early you play. It was about how well you play. And for him, he wanted to go somewhere that he could play well. He'll be the first to tell you the lessons that he learned from guys like Dylan, how beneficial that year of watching a guy prep every single week, what it needed to look like for him to be his best. And I think it's paying dividends now.
So you've been around Heisman Trophy finalist quarterbacks the last 2 seasons in Bo Nix and Dylan Gabriel. Do you feel like you have another guy that could not only get to New York City, but this time maybe hoist up that trophy?
We have a great quarterback, and we don't live in hypotheticals, but if he continues to do what he's supposed to do, the rest will take care of itself. And we're really excited about the guy we have.
We know that right now he's playing at a high level. Like people are starting to say he could be the best quarterback in the country. When everything's clicking for Dante Moore, what's the next step to his game, Coach Dan Lanning?
Keep clicking. Yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. There's a lot of noise. That's the way it goes when you're doing things really well. I'm excited to see, him handling adversity. I think he's done an unbelievable job of that in small moments this year, in practice, in games. But that'll continue to show up. But if he just keeps focusing on what he can control, the rest will take care of itself.
Dan Lanning is here with us. Going into last year, everyone was wondering, what is Oregon going to look like in the Big Ten? And you guys were undefeated in the regular season. You won the Big Ten championship. You had that long layoff. And unfortunately, in the playoffs, you went up against Ohio State team and it just wasn't your night. For the guys that are back and now you're underway with another season of Oregon football, what do you think they could learn from last year's run and what do they really take away from it?
Well, I think they have learned a ton. One, the process works. We had a lot of success last year when there wasn't a lot of noise about us last year. It's going to be the first year in the Big Ten. What will it look like? I think now those pregame jitters are by, right? That's come and gone. Like we know what it'll look like. We know there's high expectations. And ultimately they learn from, growth moments and wins and growth moments from that loss. But they're really motivated. They're working extremely hard. We've developed some great leadership in a short amount of time. We're getting really good, valuable experience for some young players. And overall, I think that's showing up on the field for us.
You have the highest of expectations. You know what the goals are. But nationally heading into this season, I heard a lot of chatter through the summer where pundits were saying, hey, Oregon's a good team, but we don't know how great they could be. Did you guys at all feel a little bit disrespected in the offseason leading up to the season starting?
Yeah, we don't focus on outside noise, right? I mean, I don't think you avoid it. You can't avoid it. It exists. But ultimately, it doesn't motivate us to play harder because of what somebody else thinks, right? And it doesn't motivate us not to play because of what somebody else thinks. We play hard because we care about wearing an O and what that means to us.
Dan Lanning here with us. I know you don't shy away from any opportunity, any challenge. That's just kind of the culture you guys have in your program. The atmosphere on Saturday night's going to be something. Happy Valley. I went to school at Temple, so I've heard all the Penn State fans talk about how great their crowd is, all that, especially with the whiteout and how prestigious that is to them. How do you kind of prepare for an environment like that?
Yeah, focus on, again, the things you can control. And it's a whiteout because we're playing in it, right? It's because Oregon's there. So we're helping create an awesome environment for us to go play in. I'm excited to see our players go attack that, but we're not going to control the noise. Now you can control it with the way that you play. And that's what we have to focus on is each play, one play at a time.
You're familiar going up against Drew Aller. That was a good Big Ten championship game last year. People are looking for him to take that next step. When you look at him on tape this year and you also go back to last year, just what are you seeing out of the Penn State quarterback?
Yeah, talented player, big arm. He multiple times in our game last year, he was able to go from 1 to 2 to 3 and get backside and hit a guy when he's open. He does a great job of moving in the pocket and taking advantage of things with his legs when everybody's covered downfield. So he's a good quarterback. It's going to be a fun challenge for us.
Dan Lanning here with us for a few more minutes. Big game coming up Saturday night. You have Penn State going up against Oregon and Happy Valley, a matchup of 6 versus 3. Your youngster at wide receiver, Dante Moore, just what has it stood out to you so far with your young wide receiver?
Yeah, stepping up to big moments. He came here, he was a perfectionist. He wanted to be right every play. I think he's learned to really handle adversity better and better throughout the year and know that not every single play is going to be a win for him, right? It's about learning from that play and going to the next play, and he's done an outstanding job with that. His ability to attack, the enthusiasm he comes on the field with, the ability to learn, the multitude of things we're asking him to do has been really impressive.
How about his blocking? I've seen that video when you guys are scoring a touchdown. He's blocking the guy into the end zone. As a coach, for a youngster to do that at the wide receiver position, that has to be like your favorite play of his so far, correct?
Oh, I love it. And Decorian, told me later on that he realized that he can make a play without catching the ball. Right, that's the kind of play that can motivate your team, can inspire others. When you block like that, it shows how much you care for the people around you.
I don't know how you are with comparisons, but I was reading on my research on him leading up to this from ESPN. I think it was Tom Luganbill who said Dacorian Moore kind of reminds him of Jamar Chase. Can he be that type of player moving forward? Jamar Chase, one of the best wide receivers, obviously, in the NFL.
Yeah, he could be Decorian Moore, right? When it's all said and done, hopefully people compare themselves to Decorian Moore.
I got to ask you about Evan Stewart. I'd be remiss because I think we sometimes forget about guys that get hurt. And right, there's a mental challenge that you have to overcome fighting back and recovering from that. Just how is Evan Stewart doing in the rehab process from the patellar tendon that he suffered in June?
Yeah, he's doing great, and it'll be interesting to see when we're able to get him back potentially and what he looks like. But again, the main focus for that is Evan and today, right, and then tomorrow, and then the next piece. But he's coming in here with a great attitude every day. He's attacking his rehab, and hopefully he's one that we can see before the season's done.
Now, I was talking to Jake Butt last week as they were getting set for Michigan and Nebraska, and we were ended up talking about your program in Oregon. And he said, being around your program this offseason, you felt that you guys have a deeper team this year compared to last year. Why is that? Why do you think you guys are deeper this year?
Yeah, I just think some young guys have stepped up. We always talk about strength in numbers. This is truly a strength in numbers team. We've played, over 60 players in every single game this season so far, and I think that speaks to the quality of players that we have and the ability to play winning football. So when you have that, you want to be able to take advantage of it.
Last thing I'll ask you, yesterday, Mike Gundy, I know you guys played him earlier in the year up against Oklahoma State. He was dismissed as the head football coach there. When you factor in his time as a player, an assistant coach, and a head coach, he spent nearly 4 decades there. Just when you got that news, just how did you process it yesterday?
Oh, just tough, man. That guy has been an unbelievable coach for so long. He put Oklahoma State on the map. Anybody that says differently is wrong. I mean, he's done. I mean, he's won. He's won there a ton of games, and the game changes. There's high expectations for coaches everywhere across the country, but you always hurt for a guy that's put so much into a program, and then recognize whenever a change like that happens, it doesn't just affect one person. That affects the entire football building. Right? There's a lot of people in that building that's lives are going to change because of that decision, and that's part of football. It's what we all sign up for. But he's a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, and has had an unbelievable career, and wouldn't be shocked to see him out there doing it again somewhere soon.
Well, Coach, I know you got to get back to preparing for Penn State. Really do appreciate the time today. Thanks so much, and good luck coming up on Saturday night.
You bet. Thank you so much.